I set out to build a 4K capable gaming PC without breaking the bank, but is that even possible? In this video, we are going to find out. My name is Matt, I'm a former rocket scientist, and my goal is to help you make the right component choices and put them together the right way every single time. In the Golden Sample Build series, I show you how to build your dream system and set it up the right way. In this video, my focus will be on building a 4K capable gaming PC without overspending on components. To help with that, and to celebrate reaching 25,000 subscribers, I partnered with InWin to build in one of their new Prism cases, which they generously agreed to give away to one lucky viewer. The giveaway will also include an AMD Ryzen 7 9800X3D or Intel Core Ultra 7 265K, a choice that may seem obvious until you see the benchmarks later in the video. In addition to the build and benchmarks, I will also show you how to set up your new PC the right way to make sure it delivers an amazing gaming experience. And talking about gaming experience, if you stick around, I will introduce a new performance metric that will help redefine what a good gaming experience looks like, something you will definitely not want to miss. So sit back and enjoy the video as I attempt to build a 4K capable gaming PC without breaking the bank. As mentioned earlier, the system being built today is an InWin themed 4K gaming PC with the following core components. For the case, we have an InWin Prism mid-tower case. For the CPU, we have an Intel Core Ultra 7 265KF. For the motherboard, we have an MSI Z890 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. For RAM, we have Team Group T-Force Delta RGB 48GB of DDR5 8200 at CL38. For the GPU, we have an MSI GeForce RTX 5070 Ti Vanguard SoC. For the CPU cooler, we have an InWin BR36 360mm AIO. For storage, we have a crucial 1TB P3 Gen 3 and 2TB P310 Gen 4 M.2 SSD. For the power supply, we have an InWin P1052 1050W Platinum power supply. For the GPU bracket, we have a Cooler Master ARGB GPU support bracket. And for the fans, we have 7 InWin Lynx LN120s and 2 LN140s. Affiliate links for all of these components are listed in the description below. I selected this CPU and motherboard combination in an attempt to reduce costs while maintaining excellent performance at 4K. In fact, I was able to pick up the 265KF for only $210 and the MSI Z890 Tomahawk for only $249, which is a fantastic price for this motherboard. I chose to pair the 265KF with some high-speed DDR5 8200 memory, instead of faster CUDA memory, which costs significantly more. I also chose some affordable crucial SSD options, a 1TB Gen 3 drive for the OS and a 2TB Gen 4 drive for games. And finally, I chose the MSI RTX 5070 Ti Vanguard because I love the look of this card, and the 5070 Ti is a great 4K GPU options. I could have gone with a cheaper variant, but at its MSRP, this is a tough card to beat. The rest of the components were provided by InWin. I was after something different for the AIO, and InWin certainly delivered with the BR36, a unique performance-oriented design that provides extra cooling for the motherboard. In addition, the power supply is a high-quality platinum-rated PSU that's perfect for the components selected. With all of the components ready, let's get building. I'm really happy with how the build came together, and especially the aesthetics. The Prism case does look amazing with its unique mirrored glass panels that automatically become transparent when it's powered on, resulting in spectacular panoramic views. But as with all builds, there are a few challenges. Overall, it was a very easy case to build in. I like the versatility with respect to fan and radiator layout. However, the front fan bracket interferes with thicker side fans, something that should be addressed by InWin. I like the integration of an RGB hub, but it would have also been nice to include a fan hub. The AIO that InWin sent me is different and in my opinion helps to give the build a more unique feel while also offering superior motherboard cooling. The mirror side glass looks great, but it does attract fingerprints, something to be aware of, especially if you have kids. The toolless side and front panels are a nice addition and the airflow is quite good. My only concern with respect to airflow is that the mesh on the front panel is quite fine, which is great for preventing dust buildup inside the case, but it will impede the flow of cool air. The case itself can support large modern GPUs and offers multiple mounting options, with the rear bracket rotatable. At around $240, it's not cheap, but it does come with 4 120mm fans, and it certainly does look unique, especially when compared against a large number of fish tank designs out there. After completing the build, the next step should be to update the motherboard BIOS. You can do this by going to the motherboard manufacturer's website and downloading the latest BIOS. For my MSI Z890 Tomahawk Wi-Fi motherboard, click on Support at the top, and then under Drivers and Downloads, click on BIOS and then the Download button, which corresponds to the latest version of the BIOS. You can then copy the BIOS files across to a USB flash drive, insert it in a USB port, and boot your PC for the very first time. Once you boot into BIOS, you will likely start in easy mode. You can switch to advanced mode by hitting F7. You can then click on the M-Flash option at the top where it will ask you if you want to enter flash mode. Select yes and your system will reboot into M-Flash mode. Once there, you can select your flash drive and click on the BIOS file to start the update process. One thing to be careful about when updating your BIOS is to ensure that your PC remains on throughout the entire process. Otherwise, you could brick your motherboard. So I would recommend not starting a BIOS update in a thunderstorm or when there is a risk of a power outage. In fact, the best thing you can do is to make sure that your PC is connected to a universal power supply with a battery backup. That said, I've never bricked a motherboard updating a BIOS, and I update them very often. After updating to the latest BIOS version, the next step is to install an operating system, such as Windows 11. On the Download Windows 11 site, you can click on the Download Now button under Create Windows 11 Installation Media to download the media creation tool. You can then run the tool to create a bootable USB flash drive, which you can use in your PC to install Windows. One thing that is very frustrating when installing Windows is a requirement to log in to a Microsoft account. I prefer to log in locally, and so for a long time I used the bypass NRO command during the login procedure to bypass a requirement to use a Microsoft account. The bad news is that Microsoft decided to remove this workaround. The good news is that as of the time of filming this video, there is a new approach that you can use. When you get to the "Is this the right country or region" screen, all you have to do is hit Shift F10 to open a command prompt. Then type start ms-cxh:local only and hit enter. You will then be able to enter any name, choose a password or leave it blank, and hit next to bypass any of the Microsoft account login requirements. Unfortunately, it appears that Microsoft will likely eliminate this workaround too, so we may be stuck using an online account. After installing Windows, your next priority should be to install your drivers. Unfortunately, this is where many new PC builders will face a dilemma. How do you connect to the internet to download your motherboard drivers if you don't have a Wi-Fi driver already installed? There are two options to proceed. 1. Connect directly to a modem via an Ethernet cable, or 2. Download your Wi-Fi driver on a different PC. Once you're connected to the internet, you can then go back to your motherboard website and click on Driver. Download all of the relevant drivers such as the chipset, audio, Bluetooth, management engine, etc. I would recommend rebooting between major driver updates, such as after installing your chipset drivers. Once you're done installing all of the drivers, you can then right-click on the Start menu and click on Device Manager. There should be no remaining alerts to indicate missing drivers or unknown devices. If there are, then they will likely be addressed when we update Windows. After installing your motherboard drivers, I would recommend installing your GPU drivers next. For an AMD GPU, you can download the Adrenalin software directly from AMD by selecting Graphics under Browse Products, then Radeon RX under Product Family, and then selecting your specific GPU. For this example, I selected 9070 XT. You can then download and install the latest version of Adrenalin, which will install the GPU drivers for your AMD GPU. For an NVIDIA GPU, you can download the drivers directly from NVIDIA by either installing the NVIDIA app or manually downloading the latest drivers. When you're on the drivers page, select GeForce, your GPU series. So for my 5070 Ti, I would select GeForce RTX 50 series, followed by the specific GPU. So for me, it's the RTX 5070 Ti. The Windows version, your language, and then click on Find. You can download and install the GeForce Game Ready driver by clicking on View and then Download. This will download the latest driver installation package for your GPU. Once you're done installing your GPU drivers, the last step is to click on Settings in the Start menu and then click on Windows Update. You can then click on Check for Updates. This will install any remaining drivers and update Windows with the latest feature and security improvements. The final action I take after setting up a new PC is to make sure that there are no corrupt files. You can do this by opening a command prompt by typing CMD in search, right-clicking on it and selecting Run as Administrator. You can then run the sfc/scan now command. This should find and repair any corrupt files on your PC that may have been generated during the installation process. You can also use a dism command to repair your Windows image if necessary, but since this is a brand new installation, that shouldn't be necessary. At this point, I also like to download and run Revo Registry Cleaner to clean up the registry before I start tuning my system. With a clean installation of Windows and all of the latest drivers installed, I then tune and optimize my CPU and GPU. For the Intel Core Ultra 265KF that I used in this build, I made the following tweaks to unlock max performance. 1. I set the P cores to 5.2 GHz and E cores to 4.8 GHz. 2. I set the ring ratio to 4 GHz, NGU fabric to 3.4 GHz, and D2D interface to 3.6 GHz. 3. I set the performance preset in BIOS to MSI performance settings. 4. I turned XMP on and T-Refi to 65535. And 5. I changed the Windows power plan to high performance. A comprehensive step-by-step guide for how to implement all of these tweaks is contained within my recent How to Fix an Intel Core Ultra CPU Performance video. To tune and optimize your GPU, I would recommend following my How to Undervolt and Overclock an NVIDIA GPU the Right Way guide. With the build complete and the PC tuned, let's see how it performs. To do this, I use the data from my recent Is the 9800 X3D Really Worth It video. In this video, I compared a 9800 X3D, 9700X, and 265K paired with an Astral RTX 5090 OC at both 1080p and 4K. With that said, let's check the benchmarks. As you can see from the benchmarks at 1080p, the InWin build with a 265KF and 5070 Ti is unable to match the gaming performance of a 265K paired with a 5090. Part of the reason for this is that the silicon quality for the 265KF was not great, and as a result, I was unable to match the overclock of the 265K. In addition, I used slower RAM in the InWin build, and I also used a much lower performing GPU, which impacts the results even at 1080p. At 4K Ultra settings, the InWin system drops a long way behind, which is almost entirely due to the difference in GPU, with a 5090 being much faster than a 5070 Ti. However, it also costs significantly more, so if we add the cost of the CPU, RAM, and GPU together and look at value or FPS per dollar, the story changes considerably, with the InWin build offering significantly higher value as expected. These benchmarks show the relative performance between the different systems, but what they don't provide is a good feel for the overall gameplay experience. To help solve this and provide gamers with a simple way to assess the quality of their overall gaming experience, I developed a new metric called the Gaming Quality Index, which consists of two main parts. In the first part, the 1% low FPS is compared against the widely accepted standard for acceptable gameplay, which is 60 FPS. This gives you a good sense of the quality of your gameplay. If your 1% lows are above 60 FPS, then your overall gaming experience in that game will be good. If it's below 60 FPS, then your experience will suffer. So the first part of the equation defines the standard for a good gaming experience. The second part of the equation directly addresses stutter by calculating how much variability there is between your average and 1% low performance. An ideal gaming experience would result in your 1% lows being equal to your average FPS, i.e. there is essentially no variability in FPS. If, however, there is a large difference between your average and 1% low FPS, then your gaming experience will suffer because you will notice frame rate spikes. So the second part of the equation penalizes components that offer inconsistent frame rate performance. A simple way of visualizing the results of this equation is if the index is above 1, then the overall gaming experience will be good, denoted as green. If the index is between 0.7 and 1, then the overall gaming experience will be average and is denoted as yellow. And if it's below about 0.7, then your gaming experience will be poor and is denoted as red. To demonstrate how this can be used, I calculated the GQI for the benchmark shown in this video. At 1080p low settings where the CPUs are heavily loaded, the 9800 X3D system clearly dominates, offering an exceptionally good overall gaming experience across all titles. However, at 4K Ultra settings where the GPU is heavily loaded, it's actually the 265K system paired with fast DDR5 8800 RAM that is able to offer a better overall gaming experience. This result may at first be surprising given the marketing hype around the 9800 X3D, but when you look in more detail at games such as Total War Warhammer 3, you can clearly see that at 4K Ultra settings, the 265K combined with a 5090 offers much higher 1% lows than the 9800 X3D, with much less variation between the 1% lows and average FPS. This is likely attributable to the extra L3 cache on the 9800 X3D being fully saturated, resulting in the need to access system RAM more frequently at 4K. So it's not surprising that the GQI for the 265K with superfast DDR5 RAM is able to offer a better overall gaming experience, something you wouldn't likely notice by looking at conventional benchmarks alone. In this video, my focus was on building an InWin inspired 4K capable value focused gaming PC. As you can see from the build, it looks amazing with nicely defined edges and sharp styling. The multi-segment mirrored glass panel conceals your components when the lights are off, only to be revealed when the internal lighting radiates through, creating a cool visual effect. I'm actually really happy with how this build turned out. My 7-year-old daughter saw it on my workbench and asked me, "Did you build that? It looks like you bought it from somewhere." And I mean that as a compliment. So yeah, it really does stand out sitting on a desk. I'm getting a little bored of fish tank design, so it was refreshing to build in something different. But none of that really matters if the PC doesn't perform. As you can see from the benchmarks, the RTX 5070 Ti is indeed capable of delivering excellent 4K performance in titles such as Call of Duty Black Ops 6, while in others such as Black Myth Wukong, it struggles. This is where upscaling can really help to enhance your overall gaming experience, as seen in Cyberpunk 2077. That said, it does hit the sweet spot between performance and cost, offering superior value when compared against higher end systems. Remember, it's not rocket science, it's Lego. My goal is to help you make the right component choices and put them together the right way every single time. Thank you for watching this video in the Golden Sample Builds Expert Build series. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. And to celebrate reaching 25,000 subscribers on this channel, I partnered with InWin to give away a Prism to one lucky viewer. Additionally, I'll be including a choice between an AMD Ryzen 7 9800X3D or an Intel Core Ultra 7 265K CPU. Full giveaway details are contained in the description below. Good luck and bye for now.